Hi, welcome to the Game Plan. I'm Rico. Today I'm going to be talking about games that I missed in 2019. I don't get to play all the games, obviously. I don't get to play even a lot of games, really. So I missed a lot, and there are some that I really thought would be interesting and would like to play. I kept an eye out for them, but what are you going to do? This particular group, they're not in any particular order, but this group of games I'm going to be discussing are games that I would say are the medium heavy. They're almost like this sweet spot game for me, that they tend to be light enough that the game length is not too long. They don't tend to induce a whole lot of AP. They don't offer as interesting of puzzles, in my opinion, as some of the heavier games, but I still really like them for kind of that sweet spot, like I say. Like, it gives me enough of one without too much of the other that I can kind of put them in this category of like, yeah, I'll always kind of play these games. The one that I'm going to go to first is Paladins of the West Kingdom. I didn't like the predecessor to this one, Architects of the West Kingdom, I believe it was. I didn't enjoy that one. It was, for me, it was a little bit too dependent on your neighbor's moods. So if you had somebody who knew what was going on and was a little bit meaner, it could impact you severely. Whereas, you know, the person to the other side of you, if they were super nice to you, it wouldn't matter at all. I didn't like that kind of being at the whim of a mood very much. But this one I heard is very much more Euro-y. It's not that I dislike interaction necessarily, but this one sounds to me like it's a little heavier, a little bit more Euro, a little bit more classic Euro, and it just sounds a little more interesting to me. Those are the type of games I gravitate to. The next one, Res Arcana. I don't really know a whole lot about this. I keep hearing about it. It looks nice. I mean, the cards and the artwork and everything looks fine. The mechanisms, I think, again, are that kind of the wheelhouse of mechanisms that kind of puzzly make me think stuff. And so it just one that I've honestly wanted to play because of how much I've heard about it and the fact that it looks like it would be in my wheelhouse. Ecos First Continent, I believe it's called. And that one, it sounds interesting. So I've found myself enjoying the nature evolution and stuff. I've been reading about it and watching videos on it and stuff, and I've actually been playing Evolution, the board game, and something about that ecosystem, the biology of that, has just been interesting to me lately. And so this one is one of those rare, because of the theme, I'm particularly interested, but I also think that the mechanisms are in that wheelhouse of mechanisms I would enjoy, and so I think that combination for me is rare. I don't really tend to care much about themes, so the fact that there is one, I thought it deserved to be on the list, so I look forward to trying that one. Okay, so then we move on to Reavers of Midgard. I did not particularly enjoy Champions of Midgard. I don't like luck-driven games, or games that are driven, that, let's say it this way, when I roll dice in a game, there are two halves to that, and one of them I enjoy and one of them I do not. The part that I enjoy is, here, let me roll the dice, let me randomly seed this problem, and then with the results I get to make my decisions. I like that. That's very interesting to me. It adds a lot of tactical, spontaneous decisions. But what I don't like is I'm going to make a decision and then I'm going to let fate decide whether that decision is successful. Gear checks, that kind of stuff. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. And the only part of Champions of Midgard that contains this is that battling element, but it's so punishing if it doesn't go well. Now, I've heard that there are the expansions that improve and fix that problem, and I very much look forward to trying with those, but the base game as it is didn't land for me. And this sounds like a similar universe, slightly different game, but heavier. And that's really kind of where I look. The Champions of Midgard is that element, or that game that's just below where it needs to be for my sweet spot game. And so I think that Champions of Midgard will pull it into that sweet spot. And since it's that universe, that style, I enjoyed that. I think this would be a good one to try. All right, the next game I am hopefully not going to mispronounce, but it's Netta Tonka. This one is another one that I think captured me with a little bit of the theme. It does contain a lot of those generic Euro elements that I tend to like, worker placement, that kind of stuff. The artwork, the theme, I think are what really pull this one into the forefront for me, and I really want to give it a try. This is a game that looks like the type of game that if I enjoy it, it's definitely going to come into the collection just because that unique theme and art I think will appeal to a lot of people that I play with. So this next game is one that I had heard about on a few reviews, and I've heard just kind of murmurs of it, and it looked like it would be interesting. Again, it looked like a series of mechanisms that are put together that are in my wheelhouse, and that is Rurik, Dawn of Kiev. I've heard it's got some very interesting and unique mechanisms in place, or at least introduce some unique ways of making decisions, and I'm always in favor of something like that. And I don't generally gravitate toward, so like, you know, Rurik, Dawn of Kiev to me kind of screams war, historical, and I don't know if it's a war game or based in the war, but just that name I'm drawn to. Like in the historic sense, it's not my favorite part of history. But despite that, this one really kind of stood out. Like even from that theme, like that part of history, I'm like, I'm curious what these interesting decisions and unique mechanisms are that take place in this theme, if the theme is not just pasted on. So curious to see that one's like. So that's it. Those are the 6 games of that kind of sweet spot area for me that I'd like to give a try. I can't imagine all of them will land perfectly for me, but those are the games that kind of usually when they do land, they go into the collection because that, again, they offer enough of enough that they're just kind of just perfect, you know. Let me know if you guys have any that you feel like kind of hit that same my sweet spot. I mean, I'd love to hear about your sweet spots as well, but if the games that you think are like these games that I've listed, I'd love to hear about them. If you've played any of the games that I've listed here, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear, you know, did you like them? Did you not like them? Why? But that's it for today, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.